Hey y'all, welcome back to K&K's Inspired Creations with Latara. So today I'm going to be making a honey punch using some epoxy resin. So if you've ever used epoxy resin, you know that depending on the type that you have, you might have to mix it half and half, or sometimes 2-to-1 ratio. The one that I have here is a half and half, and I'm actually doing two projects at the same time, so that's why you can probably see me making twice as much than I'll actually need for this particular project. And I am making a honey punch. It's like a New Orleans kind of thing. You could probably look it up. And as always, I do want to thank you so much for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And yeah, thank you so much. So the next thing I'm going to do is start adding a little bit of food coloring. I start off with the yellow and mix it up really well. I'm not going to show it on camera, but I did end up adding a couple more colors to get this more honeyer looking color. And then I ended up mixing up some more to add a little bit more red, because the top part of the honey punch is like a reddish color. So here it is. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Welcome back to K&K's Inspired Creations with Latara. So today I'm going to be making a bee themed pudding, or like a honey pudding. So I started off by using some silicone caulk that you can get from Lowe's or Home Depot, and then I ended up adding some red and yellow paint to get the color that I wanted. And now I'm just adding it to a piping bag just so that I can pipe it into the glass without it, getting on the sides of it. And as always, I want to take a moment to thank you so much for checking out my video. You can be watching anybody else's video, but you chose to watch mine, and I'm very, very appreciative. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm in the process of growing my channel. Not sure if you can tell, but I am struggling a little bit. When you put a lot of paint and silicone caulk, it makes it tougher, or whatever you want to call it. So I had to use some alcohol to try to smooth it out, and it definitely worked out really good, which I guess is okay because it's supposed to be honey jelly for the honey pudding. Now I'm going to use lightweight spackle for the honey pudding portion, and I'm going to put this in a piping bag as well with a piping tip, and then just kind of swirl it around inside of the glass. And lastly, I ended up using some yellow hot glue that looked like honey to make like this honeycomb decoration that I'm going to put on top. It's supposed to be equivalent to like white chocolate in a way, but I did mine more yellow. And I ended up mixing some black paint with the air dry clay to make like a black whipped cream. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but I thought it was cool. So now I'm making the drip, and I end up using Mod Podge and then some yellow food coloring and like a teeny tiny amount of red food coloring to get this color. And so I felt like it needed a little something, so I ended up making a bow from some bee themed ribbon that I ended up finding at Dollar Tree this year. And this turned out so cute. I love it so much. Thanks again for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Hey y'all, welcome back to K&K Inspired Creations. So today I'm going to be making some bee-themed mug toppers, and I'm basically starting off making my whipped cream or my whipped topping. So I'm using lightweight spackle, adding a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red, just to get this honey-ish kind of color that I really like. And as you can see, I'm actually using one of the tubs for the lightweight spackle to mix it in because it's such a large amount that I'm using right now. So I'm using a, pre-used piping bag to add some of that spackle, color spackle to, so that I can pipe it onto my mug toppers. And I always like to have some type of cup there because it makes it so much easier to get inside the cup. And so now basically I'm going to just kind of push it down so that I'm able to get my hands around the ending of it. Now I'm going to do the same thing with black. So the black is a lot harder to make because it's a lot richer of a color. So I'm going to end up having to add a ton of paint, which makes spackle really, really like soft, which is not what you want when you're making mug toppers. So I'm gonna have to add some flour to it just to thicken it back up. And then once it gets more, thick again, then I can add more paint to it to try to get the black color that I want. I've been able to do it with black. I have not really been able to really do it with red yet, but I've been working on it. Red is definitely a hard color to make. And of course, I'm doing the same thing. I am transferring the black spackle or the black icing into a piping bag so that when it's time to pipe, I can just grab each one and I don't have to start making it again. And as always, I always like to take a moment just to thank you so much for watching my video. You can be watching anybody else's video on YouTube, but you're here watching my video and I'm so appreciative of it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. I make tons of really cute decor items and fake bakes if you like that kind of thing. Here I'm using hot glue again to make like a honeycomb candy piece to put on top of my mugs or on top of my mug topper as like a piece of decoration. One thing I do like to do is just trace out the circumference, diameter, whatever you would call it, of the mug, and then use like a foam round to dummy up the bottom so that I can make the mug topper tall without it, collapsing on itself. And so that's what I was doing right there. So now I'm going to start piping the first mug topper. And piping and making mug toppers is actually not the hardest thing in the world. It's very satisfying and really cool. So if you haven't tried it before, you should definitely try it. This is probably one of my last projects that is bee themed for this year. And I love decorating for using the bee theme because there's so much variety. The colors, that black, white, and yellowish color for the honey. It's just everything. It's just so pretty. I've had so much fun with this bee theme for the spring decor items that I have. The next one's going to be lemon, so I'm working on making a whole bunch of lemon stuff, but the bee theme is probably one of my favorites. I'm probably going to do it again next year and make some new cool stuff. So I ended up adding a whole bunch of sprinkles. Right now I'm just cutting up that hot glue candy honeycomb piece that I was telling you about and putting it on the mug topper. Now on to the next one. So I did the same thing. I'm gonna start off with white spackle this time. And I think between the two of them, I want to say this one is probably my favorite. I love when I'm able to put like some type of drip on my projects. And the way I make my drip is I just take a little bit of Mod Podge, some food coloring. This one I used orange. I think I used a little bit, like a drop of brown paint, and then like a little tiny bit of red food coloring to get the color that I like from my drip, my honey drip. And then of course I added my signature straw. I added a little bit of sprinkles and glitter, and I added those candy pieces, the honeycomb candy pieces as well. And of course I put a couple of bees on there because of course it's bee themed. And look at that, it came out so pretty. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and please subscribe if you're not. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Hey y'all, welcome back to K&K's Inspired Creations with Latara. So today I'm going to be making a bee themed honey parfait. So So of course I started off with my lightweight spackle, added a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, just to get that honey color that I like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that into a piping bag so that I can use it a little bit later. And I believe I mentioned this before, that I do like to keep a cup handy so that it makes it easier to get the spackle inside of the piping bag. A little trick that I came across while watching other creators. And so now I'm going to do the exact same thing, but with the black. So I ended up adding a whole bunch of black to white spackle. And the thing about black is that the more paint that you add to spackle, the softer the spackle is, and it won't hold its shape when you pipe it. So you have to add something to it. I usually add flour to it, but I think you can do like baby powder or even cornstarch to get the same effect. But you just want to make sure that you add enough so that it makes it to where you still have that same like structure that you would have wanted before. And so now I'm doing the same thing, just adding it to a piping bag so that I can have it when it's time to pipe. And as always, I just want to take a second to just thank you so much for watching my video. You can be watching anybody else's video, but you're here watching mine. I'm so appreciative of it. I am trying to grow my channel, so if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. I do a lot of DIYs and fake bakes, and I think you would like it. And so now I'm ready to pipe. I'm just cleaning these glasses. I'm cleaning these glasses because I got them from Goodwill. So, you know. So I basically just started off with the black, and I'm going to alternate until I get to the very top. At this point, I think I remember that I did want to put like a white whipped cream on top, but my little bag doesn't have that much in it, so I need to add more white spackle to my bag so that I can pipe some really cute whipped cream on top. And so that's all I'm doing, just putting a bag that I used before into the cup to make it easier to get it in there, and then just add some of that just white spackle. I like using the DAP lightweight spackle because the color is already perfect and it hasn't turned colors on me yet, so I'm gonna just keep doing it that way. I don't add any white color to it. And so now I'm just looking for the straw that I would like to use. I think I ended up going with polka dots and like alternating black and white, or whatever you would call it. And I put them both into them, which was really cute actually. And then I decided to add in my honeycomb hot glue candy looking piece. And then also I wanted to add some glitter. I wanted to add some sprinkles. Before doing all that, of course I have to do my drip. So of course I start with a little bit of Mod Podge, and then I add in some yellow food coloring, stir it up real good. I usually add in some brown, it's not paint, I can't remember what it is. And then after that I add in a teeny tiny bit of red food coloring, because if I put too much red food coloring in there, even one full drop, it just changes the color of the drip and it makes it way too red. So just a very small amount to change the color just a little bit, and then just add it to the top. So cute. I love adding drips to my projects. It's just one of the funnest things. And so now that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some of my sprinkles. I want to say I was just doing probably yellow all over it, since the spackle is white and I didn't really have any black sprinkles. And then I do have some black sprinkles, but they're just like little tiny circles like those. They're not really like sprinkles when you think of sprinkles. And then of course I added a bead or two to each one of the parfaits. And then I'm going to finish it off with some glitter, and that's pretty much it. And it came out so pretty. I love these so much. They are so gorgeous. Look at that. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I loved making the parfaits. I'm gonna have to make more. Anyways, hey y'all, welcome back to K&K's Inspired Creations with Latara. So today I'm going to be making some bee-themed popcorn. So I basically started off by taking some white air dry clay, rolling it into a ball, and then taking some scissors and making I did 3 little snips across from each other, and then I took another tool and kind of bent it in a little bit. So I had to do that a lot of times just to get enough of the popcorn. I ended up doing it with the white air dry clay, black air dry clay, and like a yellowish orange honey looking air dry clay to get 3 different colors of popcorn. So now I ended up buying this. You can see it on the left side a little bit, the little popcorn box from Dollar Tree. So what I'm doing is I'm just I'm tracing right now the boxes onto the fabric that I ended up buying from Dollar Tree at the $5 section. And it came with like 5 or 6 different types of bee-themed cloth. So that's why I decided to go with those. And then now I'm going to start basically cutting them out afterwards. So I did both of the popcorn containers, and I did a different type of fabric or a different print on each one. So I had to trace each one and then cut out each one. And the tracing and the cutting out of it to get it, to look basically perfect was probably the most tedious part, as well as, that was probably it. That was probably the most tedious part, tracing it and then cutting it out. It probably took the longest amount of time out of everything that I did with this particular project. And as always, I do want to take a moment to thank you so much for watching my video. You can be watching anybody else's video, but you're here watching mine, and I'm so appreciative of it. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, K&K's Inspired Creation, please do so. If you like any of my creations, I do a ton of really cute DIYs using a lot of Dollar Tree products, as well as tons and tons of fake bakes, because I love to fake bake. I don't like to bake in real life, but I love to fake bake. So if you like to see fake bakes or cute little DIYs, then definitely subscribe, tell your friends, all that cool stuff. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I'm just appreciative for you taking the time to watch me. So now, as you can see, I am now hot gluing them to each side so that it's covering all 4 sides of the popcorn containers. This wasn't nearly as difficult as it was basically cutting them out and getting them straight. I basically used a craft stick to kind of adhere the cloth to the container and without burning myself. But this did truly come out absolutely adorable. The cool thing is that you can do this for any season. It doesn't have to be just for the bee season. It can be done for Christmas, for Halloween, for Juneteenth, for St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, anything, because as long as you have the cloth, you can do this with the containers. You can change the color of the air dry clay to match the season. So this won't be the only popcorn I'll be doing. I'll probably do it for another season. I'm thinking maybe Halloween, so I can put like maybe an eyeball on there, maybe like some spiders or something cool like that. And I might even do it again for Christmas, I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely something very versatile and truly adorable. So now that that's pretty much complete, so that I don't have to add a ton of air dry clay, I'm going to dummy up the bottom. So I'm basically going to be using a toilet paper roll, and I'm going to cut it down to size. I'm also going to take some foam, some old foam that I probably got when I ordered something, cut it into little squares so that I can put it on top of the toilet paper rolls. So I'm going to end up hot gluing the toilet paper rolls into the container, and then putting the styrofoam on top. And you don't have to use styrofoam, you can use cardboard, anything. Okay, so this is where I made a mistake. I don't believe that I recorded myself finishing this, so I'm just going to show you the end result and tell you what I did, because it's actually very simple. So this is the end result, and honestly all I did was, you saw me put the styrofoam inside, so all I did was took the popcorn and I glued it onto the styrofoam until you couldn't really see the styrofoam anymore. And then I took the drip that I usually make with the Mod Podge and the food coloring and all that stuff, and I just kind of poured it on top. And then the thing where I make like the ice, not the ice cream, but the candy, the honeycomb candies made out of hot glue, the yellow hot glue. I took one of those, cut it into pieces, put 2 of the pieces on here, 2 of the pieces on the other one, and just added a bee, and that was it. So the hardest part I actually did record. This part wasn't hard. All I did was hot glue these pieces of air dry clay, popcorn, together, and then just poured some stuff on top and just kind of did some embellishments. But the hardest part was, probably this, like cutting it up to size and putting it on here and all that good stuff. But that's it. So I think it turned out adorable. My little popcorn, my bee themed popcorn, my honey popcorn. But yeah. Thanks for watching.